Mr. Hamilton isn't suggesting that we need an immigration court at every northern port of entry. I don't know that many Canadians who are claiming asylum as they cross from the north. Well, they're moving south. They're from the north. Yes. But I do agree that we do need more immigration judges. Where they would be housed is a detail I don't have an opinion on. America needs immigrants. If we don't have immigration, our population starts to decline in 2038. This is a country that has typically had 2–3% population growth per year. Our population starts to decline. We start having the problems of Italy and Japan. Even with immigration, our population will start to decline in 2081. That's because for all of these talks of giant numbers of people coming into our country, currently net migration, documented and undocumented, is only 875,000 people. That's according to the census, and that takes into account the fact that hundreds of thousands of people, some American-born, some who were born elsewhere but leave the United States, and so our net migration is 875,000. As to fentanyl, I think it's simply wrong to blame immigrants. The fentanyl comes in vehicles. We have thousands and hundreds of thousands of containers coming in from Mexico, but we don't inspect, but I believe, a quarter of them. Mr. Isaacson, do I have that right? And can you think of a reason why we shouldn't charge the importers to have every container inspected, except if perhaps we're worried about Walmart's profits?
It would make sense to have the equipment there to inspect. I mean, there is some logistical stuff that has to happen over the next couple of years, but yeah, I mean, 90% of the fentanyl.
And the vast majority of those crossing our borders now and asking for asylum, the first person they talk to is Border Patrol.
Right.
Does Border Patrol look inside the backpack when people turn themselves in?
Border Patrol confiscates the majority of people's belongings, and yes.
Sounds like a really bad way to bring in fentanyl. Now, there's this idea that terrorists are going to come into our country. We have a system designed that is dealing with a lot of people who aspire to come to the United States and work for minimum wage. We all we've all encountered undocumented immigrants in this country. None of them impress me as being James Bond. They're hardworking people who aspire to move up the ladder, but they start at the bottom. Do we really think that foreign intelligence agents could be deterred? How difficult would it be for them to get a tourist visa? Simply by claiming to be tourists, claiming all you have to do is steal a Norwegian passport. Can you think of a system that would be successful in preventing Iranian or Russian agents from sneaking into the United States, perhaps with a visa?
I mean, it's something that we have to worry about, you're right, more in our airports and other ports of entry than at the border. I mean, it is something we always have to be vigilant about at the border. But it is, at the border, there are many other things to be concerned about. And I suspect if we could ever get our hands on a list of the countries of those 300, the nationalities of those 300 people who are on the terrorist watch list, we'd find that they're mostly from Colombia, people who had demobilized from the armed conflict there. But that's only what we know.
And then you have a lot of people just with a similar name.
Right.
We have a $485 million humanitarian aid assistance program identified by President Biden to help Latin America. You've described how millions and millions of people in Latin America are on the move. Will that $485 million help create stable economic conditions that reduce the number of people leaving their home countries in Latin America?
It will, especially if it's going after corruption and human rights abuse and the reasons that people leave. But the results won't be felt immediately. It's not a short-term fix, but it is a more permanent long-term fix.
I yield back.
Chair recognizes Mr. Smith.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for calling this important hearing, and welcome to this committee, gentlemen, and thank you for your testimonies. You know, one of the